This is the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Tuesday, the 8th of December. James Spann here. Got some very active weather coming up, so let's get right to it. First off, the Skycam shots around the network this morning. That is coming from Tuscaloosa, where the streets are wet. They've had some overnight rain. But the good news, their big Christmas parade last night went through those streets pretty much dry. Rain falling down south. That's the Skycam looking at the battleship USS Alabama. Big rain mass down there in the Gulf Coast. And in our neighboring state of Mississippi. Rain falling in Starkville. That's at the Comfort Suites on Russell Street, just a few blocks west of Scott Field, Davis Wade Stadium. There's a look at the big picture this morning. What a storm out west. That thing is really beginning to crank up and lift out. It's dropped about 2 feet of snow through parts of the Arizona mountains, and that'll be heading up toward the Great Lakes, producing a big mess in that region in terms of snow and maybe some active strong to severe storms down here. There's the radar at the insane hour of 5 a.m., and rain covers much of the state, some pockets of heavier rain, so we'll see rain falling at times throughout the day today. Of course, the heavier stuff comes in here tonight. There's the big picture, and you can see that massive, more widespread rain down on the Gulf Coast. And all of that is moving east. And, of course, during the day today, we'll be checking the northward progress of the warm sector, which is, for the moment, still just off the coast. Goodness gracious. That makes you want to slap your mama. Winter storm warnings up all the way from Denver to Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago. Blizzard warnings in effect for parts of Colorado, Arizona, Iowa, and Minnesota. See a freezing rain advisory out there for parts of West Texas. And in Mississippi, that's a wind advisory. The winds are really going to pick up out of the south today of 12 to 22 and with higher gusts. And also a winter storm watches up now for parts of New England in advance of that thing. Here's a look at the heaviest snow expected today and tonight. Again, you can see from the mountains of Colorado up to the Great Lakes, then ultimately over into the Northeast. Some of the cities in the bullseye for the big snow: Omaha, Des Moines, Milwaukee. And on the north and south there, you got Minneapolis and Chicago, as they will be buried by this thing. And, of course, our concern, it's severe weather. And look at that now. The guys at SPC, it pulled that slight risk northward again. For a while, they dropped it south, and now it covers pretty much all of Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. For later today and tonight, slight risk also on the Atlantic seaboard, the coast of the Carolinas and Virginia. There's a look at the wind probabilities. The chance of severe wind, that's 58 miles per hour or greater within 20 miles of a given point, 30%. That's very significant. And that covers about the western half of Alabama, back in almost all of Mississippi. And look at the tornado numbers. That is very high. 10%, much of Mississippi and parts of West Alabama. No doubt there's great potential for rotating updrafts. The big question with this thing is instability. If this were April, we'd have some real problems, but thank goodness we're in the cold season, and the instability will be the limiting factor. And the rain's going to be pretty good. This is suggesting the heaviest rain just northwest of here, with a bullseye of 3 inches just north of the Shoals, and the amounts taper off as you go southeast. Don't think it will be enough for flash flooding problems. Let's look at the modeling. This is the GFS valid at noon today, the 06Z run. And there's your trough lifting out. Down below that, the surface low is developing nicely over the Texas Panhandle. Big snows to the north of that thing. Tonight at midnight, the surface low is located between St. Louis and Chicago at 992 millibars. And, of course, down below that, we are in a very favorable position for severe weather. And what about that instability? This is off the RPM model. Rapid Precision Mesoscale. And this is suggesting the instability values will be perhaps as great as 500 to 1,000 joules. This is valid at 0430Z. That's 10:30 tonight, our time. And it sure looks like the window is now kind of setting up for this event from about 6 o'clock this evening until 2 a.m. We're going to bump up the timing a little bit. There's a look at the helicity. We all know that's off the chart. This is the 0 to 1 kilometer helicity, valid at midnight tonight. And again, those numbers are just pegged out. And sometimes you can't have too much shear, but again, no doubt with something like that, we'll see some rotating updrafts if the updrafts can be sustained, and we think they will be. That's a little troubling. That's the STP, the significant tornado parameter, maxed out over West Alabama tonight at midnight from near Fayette to Tuscaloosa and Demopolis. And, of course, that'll be shifting east. With time, as the air cools and becomes more stable, the threat could diminish over the eastern side of the state, but no doubt the western part of Alabama, you will be involved in a severe weather risk tonight. The Craven-Brooks Index, another good severe weather index that combines shear and helicity, or shear and instability, has the numbers maxed out there from around Greensboro and York and Livingston back to the southwest. Of course, the reason for that, the better instabilities are down there. So bottom line is severe weather potential, you bet. We'll say 6 o'clock until about 2 a.m. tonight, and we'll be waiting and watching. Midday tomorrow, surface low is near Chicago. We're in a dry slot. Initially, the cold air won't get in here. We think the high tomorrow could be in the low 60s, maybe even mid-60s with the sun peeking out. But Thursday, yeah, it turns colder. We'll be in the 40s all day, and the cold air is going to be pretty shallow. But remember, it's coming over a big snowpack. It's going to be a cold day. I wouldn't be shocked if some folks up in the Tennessee Valley stayed in the 30s all day. And then Friday, in that very active southern branch, here comes that next impulse. And this model run is faster. It breaks out the rain during the day Friday. And based on recent systems, I think the faster solution is probably right. So we're going to go ahead and mention a chance of rain during the day Friday. And it looks like it will be all rain. There's Friday night. And again, that thickness parameter there, the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness, doesn't tell the story of the surface cold air. But let's peek at the 850 prog. This is the temperature at 5,000 feet. The 0 degree line on this run is north of Nashville, so certainly no snow. And based on that, it looks like we can just talk about a cold rain. Friday night, and Saturday. Yep, still there. Looks like mainly Saturday morning. So we'll mention that. It's a cold rain now. And again, we'll get this thing out of here tonight. We can focus more on that. And then Sunday looks like a cool and a dry day. Be up there in the low 50s. Monday of next week, here comes the next impulse. Looks like rain will scoot in here Monday afternoon and Monday night. And then Tuesday, that feature is on by. Very active and challenging forecast pattern, needless to say. We'll check the toward the end of the month. This is the 20th of December. Nice trough. Yeah. Again, you know that we've seen a lot of looks with winter weather mischief in there a little before Christmas, and certainly that look has that. But remember, this is voodoo. And at the end of the forecast on the 23rd of December, Christmas Eve, that looks cool and dry. No sign of any really serious Arctic invasion is kind of suggested by the AO going strongly negative. But again, we'll get better resolution as we get closer, since all of this is out there beyond 7 days. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes on the blog. The next video by 3:30 or so today. And, of course, if you're local to us, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 at 5, 6, and 10. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.
Each day, there are new stories to tell about the people who live here and the place we call home.
All of the faces that I see, all of the places close to me, they're all part of all the best things about home.
Sharing your stories on ABC 3340, Alabama's news leader.